With all the ongoing economic and market uncertainty, you may be thinking about the impact on your pocketbook in the short term and your financial plans for the future. Nicole Ewing, principal of the Wealth Planning Office at TD Wealth, joins us now for a look at what to consider. Nicole, always great to have you with us on these matters. Let's start with the idea that if you have built a plan, and hopefully most people have built a plan, the plan should have some what-ifs in it. What are we talking about when we talk about what-ifs?
So when we do our planning, it's built on the assumptions that go into it. So when do we expect to retire? How much do we expect to save? What is it that we're going to be doing with our money? So having that plan in place that has been built on what your assumptions are gives you the opportunity to say, have any of those assumptions changed now? So has my personal situation changed? Have the projections about what may happen in the future changed? Has the actual market results changed? So we're able to assess our current situation against where we expected to be, look at what if things continue as they are now, what that might mean for us, but it allows us to really dive into those what if scenarios, those assumptions that the plan was built around to see where we might need to make some adjustments or where we are right on track. And it can be quite reassuring to say, even though there's some things happening around me or my own situation has changed, all of those were built into the plan. We allowed for there to be some uncertainty. We knew that there was going to be ranges, and this now gives me an opportunity to look back and feel some comfort or to know that it's time to make some adjustments.
It's important when you're making this plan too and you put the what ifs in there, you don't get hung up on the what ifs. I get a little conservative about worrying about everything that could go wrong. I think I personally need a little more balance in my planning.
Well, it really is, it's good to have prepared for that, but this is where we want to kind of come up a little bit and look at the big picture. Look at, it might be that your short-term situation is a little bit different that you anticipated, but your long-term situation, when we look at the holistic situation that you're in, shouldn't be giving you that concern. And we don't want to make quick knee-jerk reactions or if we're getting uncomfortable with something to be reactionary about it. This is, by having that plan, it allows you to be thoughtful. It allows you to step back and think, all right, do I need to make an adjustment, or is this something that we'll just have to weather? And it can be a little uncomfortable, but that doesn't mean that we need to be reacting to that in real time.
When you set out a plan, obviously it's very important to realize what stage of life you're at. Maybe your plan looks different when you're 30, when you're 50, when you're retired. So let's break it down in groups. We're going to start with people who are nearing retirement.
So if you're nearing retirement, you probably had some ideas about what that might look like. So when it's going to happen, where you're going to be spending your time, how much you want to be spending during that time. And so it's time to reflect, have your goals changed at all? And if so, do you need to make some adjustments? So you might want to consider, whether or not you want to extend your retirement date. You might want to consider if you're going to be spending your time somewhere different than you anticipated, what does that actually mean for the budget, for the anticipated dollars? And so we can get a little bit granular. We can look deeper into the budget to see, what am I anticipating spending? What am I spending now? Do I need to be taking some steps back? And this is where we can get some advice from our advisor to say, this is what I'm seeing. This is where it deviates from the plan or it doesn't. But we have the opportunity as well to make sure that we're not having some unforced errors. So things like you're not filing your taxes on time and then being hit with penalties and interest, or not paying attention to your debt and then having that accrue in a way that you weren't expecting it to. So being mindful, and even though there's some things happening that it might be difficult to look at your finances, but turning your mind to the things that you can control and focusing on those. And thinking as well, if your employment or your business is putting you in a more precarious position than you intended to be in, to think about whether or not there's things that you should be doing to shore up your personal situation, maybe cutting back on some of the spending, or thinking about what your options might be in terms of credit facilities, savings plans, and really just, again, taking that overall look to see where you want to be and whether you need to make some adjustments.
How does that mindset change when you go from near retirement to being retired?
When you're in retirement, some decisions you may have already made. So you may have already determined when you'll be taking OAS and CPP, and so those are part of your plans that are already in place. But you do have the opportunity to look at the types of income that you're currently receiving and to see whether there's some adjustments that you might want to make there. So again, there is some control that you can have about the types of income you're receiving, whether that's capital gains or dividends or other sorts of interest income. But the timing of that income, whether or not you can maybe delay some of it or accelerate some of it, thinking about whether you might make some of those the tweaks to the cash flow that you're receiving. And then looking as well as, really, again, controlling what you can control. So here we are, we're in retirement, some decisions have been made, but we have the opportunity to look at our situation more holistically and think, what about our estate planning? What about our wills and our powers of attorney? Have we looked at those and really made the decisions that we need to make in order to ensure that our whole financial affairs, have been, you're in the best position that you can possibly be in?
This next group, I think, it's all interesting, but given the economic uncertainty, if you're a business owner, what are we thinking here?
Well, we're thinking about, looking not only from your business perspective, but also from your personal perspective. So you're one person at the end of the day. And even though you may have different legal entities that you're operating under, your financial affairs are intertwined. So again, this looks at the type of income that the business is receiving, the type of income that you're paying yourself, whether that's salary or dividends or other sorts of income, whether to accelerate or to press pause on that. We want to be looking at getting our team of professionals together. So perhaps your banker, your investment advisor, financial planner, all looking together at both your business situation and your personal and seeing what needs to be done there. And then from a business perspective, of course, we're making decisions about vendor relationships that you have, the expense management, cash flow, just turning an eye to that and making sure that you're comfortable. Again, going back to the what ifs, that what if this happens? What assumptions have you built into your planning? And do you need to make any tweaks or changes to that? And ultimately, at the end of the day, just being comfortable with the knowledge about why you're in the situation you're in and what options are available to you, and then ultimately, trusting in the process.
Lots of great stuff there, Nicole. If there is one thing you want people to think about and consider in times like these, what would it be?
Well, again, when we think about the planning that we do, it's to ensure that we are prepared for any stage, no matter what is happening to us. And we don't anticipate one set of events that's going to happen and then expect that to play out. We are building a plan that will see us through certainty and uncertainty, through good times and through less great times in our own lives and what's happening in the world. But ultimately, we are planning to ensure that we're putting ourselves in the best position that we can based on our own circumstances as well as what's happening around us.